welcome to episode 6 of Loot Level Chat, the podcast from lootlevelchill.com. My name's Adam Cook, and I'm joined by Steve Chambers and Chris Hyde. And Chris Hyde and Steve Chambers. There you go, I can edit it either way now, so you're both as important.
Hello!
Sorry to tell you, Chris, but the video's slightly different this week because there's 3 of us, so you just waved to kind of my penis, if I'm completely honest. Nope, no one over there. No one over there. Yeah, that's done it. You've got it.
Like that
You've got
Usher
it.
video.
That's why I went with the simple, straightforward.
The Usher video, yeah. Yeah, no, you nailed it in the end. You started off by waving at my penis, and now you've waved at everyone's. So that's
So that weighs your penis. So your face must be there.
Ish,
right?
I mean, this is terrible audio. I will say for people not watching.
No, it's great audio.
Well, I suppose it's descriptive.
You can use your imagination, can't you? At that point, it's great.
Yeah, it's where it
you
would be,
well
were it
Adam,
on screen, roughly. Give
the
or
penis
take.
is not on screen.
Not this time. Well, it is in a different way, but not my actual. Never mind.
Was that a dig at Lyle then?
No Todgers were harmed in the
it was
recording of this podcast.
It was self-effacing, Steve, and I would never stoop so low as to insult someone when they're not here because they've got the shits.
I'll do it. It's fine.
Lyle's a cunt.
Switch 2 has been revealed, and I will warn you now that if you have no interest in Switch 2, sorry, but that's basically this podcast.
Go.
Yeah, but no, don't go. Go for a bit and then come back when we talk about South of Midnight, which is the kind of second part of the agenda. But we knew we were going to have like loads to talk about Switch 2. So I guess we just kick off with it. Like, what's the general feeling, thoughts? Listen, I know all 3 of us have pre-ordered them, so that says something. But who wants to go for it? Who wants to? Because I know Chris has kept his cards quite close to his chest.
What a chest!
Do you want to go first, Chris?
No, I'll go first, but I feel like this is not going to be me talk for 10 minutes, you talk for 10 minutes, so we'll bounce off each other, right?
What, a conversation? Not on a podcast, mate. No way.
What's that?
Well, a conversation on a podcast? I don't think it will catch on.
No, I know. How imaginative. I mean, you guys know this, but I'll let everyone else know. The direct that was last week left me feeling very dry and flaccid.
You were a little downbeat about it, Chris, to be fair.
I was a bit disappointed last week, if I'm honest. And I don't normally say that coming out of Nintendo Directs because I fucking love Nintendo. And I was like, oh, shit. And so I was a bit sort of like, I knew it would be good because it's a console one, right? They're different. They're a different level. But I was like, I had really tempered my expectations a bit. And I couldn't watch it live for various reasons. So I was watching it later, avoiding all spoilers that I possibly could, like disconnected from the world for a few hours. But I have to say, I came away from it, and there were numerous points throughout of it. I was like, "Are you serious?" Like literally, like when you're watching something and you audibly talk to no one because you're that surprised and happy. That's how I was with it. There are some things we will talk about that aren't 100% glowingly positive, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but on the whole, I was really happy, really pleased, and I'm looking forward to it. I will come out straight off the bat. Was not expecting June the 5th. I will say that straight away.
No one was expecting that.
When that
I
was thinking late Q3 is what I was thinking.
I thought August at the latest. It just felt that way to me.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. September.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
But like, I was not expecting like early summer. Like, I really wasn't. And
they've been too
quiet.
Quiet. Nintendo have been too quiet in terms of releases. It had to have been coming soon because they have been too quiet.
But they had also the week before.
Yes.
Announced a lot of release dates after June the 5th. But
nothing really that was theirs. Like, I mean, the one thing I would go back to, Metroid, we still don't have a date. Pokemon, we don't have a date.
I guess in my mind, I was like, if they've given us a release date, that's Switch 1. If it's 2025, then it could be technically, Switch 2. So I was really surprised by that. And it was, they did the normal Nintendo prick tease thing where the first few games were like, on the date the Switch launches, and you're like, right, come on then, tell us. And then they literally just went, oh yeah, it's just June the 5th. And you're like, what? So it's like 2 months.
Nothing. Like,
2 months from now. That's insane. So I was very pleased and very pleasantly surprised about that because I thought I'd have to wait. I just thought it'd be towards the end of the year, and so the fact that it's halfway through the year,
big fan myself of like the announced couple of months were there. Like, I don't think.
Yeah, no,
I think the world
yeah.
has changed. Like, when you think of like the TikTok generation now, where people the attention. I don't think the attention or certainly want from the market for a 12 to 18-month marketing push is wanted anymore, let alone
no one needs that build up now. You want instant gratification.
There's a reason everyone's, like I say, the TikTok generation or the 2 seconds. What's the thing people say, like, if you don't get them in the first 2 seconds, you're not going to get them because you'll swipe away. Like, attention spans have changed because of the way society has changed. I was very pleased with that.
I think that's true. Like, I don't want like to know too much about a game unless it's coming quite soon.
But like also like the wait for this now, it's literally 2 months.
Yeah.
It's literally 2 months at the time we started recording. Like that is nothing. Like that is blink and you miss it sort of thing. That is not. That's not. Oh God, I want that thing, but it's not coming till December, is it? That is like it's 2 months.
And that is. They don't tend to do that. I mean, I can't remember
not with the
console reveals. It has been what Nintendo have been doing annually, almost not quite shadow dropping something, but announcing something like Paper Mario. I remember Origami King. None of us knew it existed, and they're like, "It's coming out in a month," and you're like, "What do you mean it's coming out in a month?" Well, that kind of, So like, it does seem to be they have cottoned on to that fact, and of not that people haven't known the Switch 2's been sort of coming for a little while, but I don't think I mean, like I say, I was not expecting June.
Yeah, there has been a longer build, hasn't there? If you give it some consideration, it's not like we've suddenly got this yesterday and it's coming. Like, you had the reveal month and a half ago now, 2 months.
The reveal a month and a half ago was, I think,
forced.
Not what they intended to do.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you wonder if that ever was intended, or it was like, look, we have to do something, because at this point. I mean, I think that was a bit of a shame. I still look back on that and find that leaks a little. I'm not a huge fan of leaks like that. Like, I know stuff will get out, but the amount that was leaked, I whatever. Do you want to? Should I just go through some of the sort of specs or numbers, or do you want to?
Yeah. Let's talk specs.
Not so much specs, but just the things. So there's some interesting things about this. To say there's the chat button or the chat menu is what the C button is for, and basically, so I thought this was a really interesting thing, because I've not heard anyone asking for Kinect back on Microsoft's side, but a lot of what the chat button seems to do is a combination of systems that already exist. Multiplayer chat, but combining it with like Microsoft Kinect. I've not seen too many people say it, but that's the thing that really struck me. Like, they're adding support to. This is going to be all over the place because there was so much information, but they're adding support to Switch 2 editions of games like Mario Party Jamboree, whereby they're putting in mini games where you have to, on screen do stuff via the camera.
Yeah,
that's Kinect.
Yeah,
that's Microsoft Kinect. That is what that is, which is interesting, but it's also like not so much of a fundamental. Like, it's not a fundamental thing, because if it was, they'd have to bundle the camera. And also, it's worth mentioning, any USB camera is going to work with that thing. You don't have to go and buy that one. So if you've got one, which I literally have a USB camera in a box over here, that will be. I mean, apparently it does like a test. So when you plug it in, it will test things, because it's got to be, I would imagine, a reasonable level of quality, because it's chroma keying people out in real time. So it's got to be a reasonable level. There's that. Not
your Xbox 360 camera then, at like
probably wouldn't be a high enough resolution. It needs to be. I would imagine it's more lighting based as well. A lot of the time the easiest way to chroma key someone, green screen them out, blue screen them out, whatever, is lighting dependent. It's a bit of a misnomer that people think you need this like £1 million camera to have the best quality. You actually need good lighting. That's the Stephen. You need good lighting, Stephen. That's the key to it. I'm
getting blinded here as well.
But I thought that chat menu stuff. Look, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it's so innovative. It should have been on Switch.
It does make me laugh.
It grew on me as well, though.
It's like, we've now got game chat, and I'm like, welcome to the 2000s, Nintendo. Like, what everyone else has been doing since like the 360. But like, it at the same time, like, so I'm also not gonna sit here and
we
say
can't pretend. We can't pretend this is
because
it's slightly innovative though, because it seems very malleable. You can have people on screen in any way in front of them.
You see,
you can share your screen.
The screen sharing stuff looks awesome as far as it goes.
The screen sharing stuff, if we ignore the frame rate,
which we have to,
because we have to.
So I had a question about them while we're talking about it. So do we think that was just put in there as a realistic representation?
Yes.
Or is it going to be choppy as all shit in actuality?
I think. Well, I guess it will be to do with bandwidth and connection, right? It will be to do with what you
can't be though, because if it is, they wouldn't show it like that.
I think it's.
You'd think it'd be shown as smooth, wouldn't you? But
I think they know it probably can't be realistically for everybody, and so therefore
there's a lot going on when you think about. I mean, what we're doing right now, recording 3 people on a video at the same time for a video podcast on youtube.com/LukeLittleChat, is very similar to what this is doing. Only it's adding a game on the back of each of us. It's also doing processing in terms of it is chroma keying out. It's not the camera that's doing that. It will be software within the hardware. Like this is all happening in real time. That said, I would be a little surprised if it was that choppy all the time, because it would why would
the
you
vibe
use
I
it?
got is that it isn't going to be 60 FPS, it's not, you're not going to get like for like on everybody's screen. So I think they probably went, look, it could look like this. I mean, I still think, I will say this, I do think, there's certainly something there. If people are looking, we've talked quite a bit about like game nights and stuff like that. Yeah. I think
that's exactly what this is.
Playing like Humans Fall Flat or some shit, seeing people's reactions to shit, and when we just play Mario and stuff and throw people off the edges and stuff, like there are certain types of games I'm like, this is going to be actually fun. Like I actually can see, like, yes, welcome to, like I said, the 2000s with the chat thing, but they've also thought about actually
the trolling.
We've talked about local multiplayer a lot,
from a content creator position as well. This is
content creating, 100%.
All that stuff you would have to do to get everyone on the screen, different game behind everyone, blah blah. Yeah. It's done. You just capture your Switch now.
Yeah, you can now record. Yeah, exactly that.
You mentioned frame rate, so let's dig into that a little bit. So the console is apparently the same thickness but with a bigger screen. The handheld screen is 1080p up to 120 FPS, which is a little bit of a surprise. The screen had to be 1080p because that's the only way. You can't go down or it can't be 720 again. 120 FPS is quite surprising. But
I did not expect 120.
No, it's an LCD screen again, and this is the one that I'm most
we
pleased
knew,
about.
right?
Yeah,
we knew it wasn't going to be OLED.
They can't release an OLED if they release one now.
No, exactly. Yeah,
like it supports HDR. Now that's one of the things I'm the most happy about, because for all the things people talk about with resolution, frame rate is very important to me. HDR is more important than a high resolution to me, because HDR, the lighting is done correctly, and it's also the one thing that's quite tricky to show off. You can capture HDR. It's not that easy to make it look good in a live stream like a Treehouse. So although we're seeing the games, and we'll get to the games, and they look nice, HDR is something that, I mean, you've all experienced it, Chris. You've recently got a new TV. Steve, I know you've got similar TV to me. HDR in a video game, it really does elevate it if the lighting's done well, and so that's something I'm really pleased is in there.
Yeah, and it's one of those, right, where and we'll come on to like the upgrade stuff for some of the games and stuff, but it's some of the things that you just sort of wish, like. You wish the games that you were currently enjoying on it had it, and I know it's behind the generation because it kind of is from a technical point of view, but it kind of like it for me the 120 FPS and the 4K stuff just sort of brings it.
Yes,
it brings it close enough,
more in line, isn't it?
It does. It brings it more in line. It doesn't feel like this kind of black sheep that can't have any of the games anymore, which is what it needed, because it was getting to that point where it's like, well, if you want a new game, well, it can't be on Switch because it will burn the thing. So
the Nintendo have never wanted to keep up with the Joneses in that sense anyway, have they? They've always relied on stylistic.
No, and I don't think it doesn't need to, there will always be a diminishing returns piece on that journey, right? There will always be, but I think, I mean, we will talk about the lineup soon, but some of the big games that are suddenly now on a Nintendo system, I think it's
telling.
It's a really good thing, and then for the future puts it in a really strong position from a cross-party point of view.
You're right. We do need to whip through some of this because we will literally be speaking for 6 hours. So just to add, you mentioned 4K. There is 4K resolution, a part of the dock. So when you dock your Switch 2, you get 4K resolution for all compatible games. It's got 1440p as well, which is a nice touch, and something a lot of people moaned about with Sony, that they got that in the end. There's 3D audio, which is one thing they haven't said an awful lot about. That's great, because 3D audio, when done well, is great. The stand is now fully malleable. There's 2 USB-C ports. The storage is now 256 gig, which is 8 times bigger than the original launch one. There is micro SD express card support. which you must use, and as you'd expect, a new Pro controller and everything else. To be honest with you, hardware-wise, there's very little I'm like, it's all like, yep, you've kind of nailed everything I wanted in a new Switch, hardware-wise.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, and of course, mouse controllers, which somehow I have forgotten to say.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
I still find that such an odd choice.
I think it's great. I think it's a great idea, and I'm really pleased.
I still,
it's weird.
My point of view, I come back to it, like, it's an addition that I think will work really well on certain titles. I think there are some titles where it will be a gimmick, and I think there's some titles where people look like Metroid, for example. If you want to, you can use it. If you don't want to, then you don't have to, and that's absolutely fine. I probably won't, and that's absolutely fine. But there are certain games, like I would imagine something like Civ 7, where I might want to explore using a mouse and may get a lot more of use out of playing it and enjoyment of playing it with a mouse. I get that if you're in handheld, a mouse is a bit...
Yeah, it puts certain limitations on how you're going to sit around and make use of a Switch, doesn't it?
But this is the point. The point is...
It's a choice.
It's a choice. And this is the thing. It's not like a Wii remote where they're saying, this is how you have to clear all the games now in this generation. It's saying there's an additional option, and I think that's the thing for me, is that I think if it gets forced, and there is obviously that wheelchair game, which I think it will be interesting to see where that goes, if that will also have like standard like joystick support or not. I don't know.
I think it has to, right?
I kind of think it has to.
From an accessibility perspective, if you release a game that is a wheelchair basketball that requires
that doesn't have accessibility
dexterity,
I
may
agree.
not have. That's
I think
mad.
I will say, just on that, I think it's great that they've done a wheelchair basketball game as a general thing, and I think it does work with the principle of the mouse and the pushing the wheel. I think it's a really nice sort of kind of synergy. But I think I think in games where you can do it this way or that way, then it doesn't matter, because if you don't want to use it, you don't have to, and so therefore it shouldn't be a thing that irritates. It's just an option.
They gave you options in ARMS, and it's like if you had options in ARMS when they were really pushing the motion, I'm sure there cannot be someone who's not gone, oh god, the wheelchair basketball game is really inaccessible to people who have disability. It can't be. It can't. It would be the biggest flop.
They were using it quite rightly to showcase how it can be used. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Do we want to talk? Let's just get into some of the launch titles or games. Let's just talk broadly about games. I feel really weird saying this. Do we even want to talk about Mario Kart World? Because it's a day one. It's just, I don't even know what to...
Can I just... I do want to talk about it briefly, right? Well. Because I was... Again, I don't care how much hate I get for this. Up until, literally clicking the play button on the Direct, I was in the camp of, we do not need another Mario Kart, right? Because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe...
Yeah,
it's fucking massive.
It's brilliant.
And it's got
huge,
all the tracks, all the characters, all the tires and gliding shit and everything I could ever fucking possibly... More than enough. More than what I could ever want. Why the fuck would I need another Mario? I don't need Mario Kart 9, because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe pretty much was Mario Kart 9. It's big enough. I don't need any more. And then I got Mario Kart World, because I didn't know what I did want was the ability to just... Skyrim the fuck off, and that would ever be a thing I'd ever want to do, or use it as a sandbox, or meet up with friends, or glide on railings, which I now want to do a lot of, and just shit like or wall run and whatever the term is in a kart when you're wall running. But all those things, I was like, I don't need to do that, because I've seen it all, and of course. Fucking Nintendo, just come along and go, well, you haven't seen it all, have you? Because this is what you could do in a Mario Kart game. And I'm like, why have I never had this before in a Mario Kart game? I now want it in my veins. And I genuinely, I say this genuinely, I didn't think I'd feel that way. I thought I'd go, okay, I'll get it, because I kind of have to have the latest Mario Kart game. I fucking want that day one. I'm getting that. Like, that's going to be fucking brilliant. Like, sure. It completely, in one trailer, changed my entire perspective, and that's genuine, because I genuinely didn't think they'd be able to do that, and they fucking pulled a Nintendo again. So I just wanted to say that, because I was blown away.
Nintendo, yeah.
You know what I mean, though? Thinking they can't do it again. And then
No, I don't have that doubt. I've been to enough like Nintendo previews and that where I'm expecting sort of. I've been to one of them where I'm expecting sort of not nothing, but like this is. I remember going to some like during the later stages of the Switch, which we can say now with like actual confidence because it was, and being like, wow, okay, not expecting, you know. So I get it, but like there's no sort of publisher I'd never write off.
So my question with Mario Kart then, is so one of the big things is now 24 races on track.
Yeah.
How's it going to feel when half of them are chasing you down with a blue shell? Because that's a lot to get.
Well,
I
think there's
there must be some kind of way they're going to cut that.
So there's new power ups, obviously. Like I saw one that's it's a gold shell, coin shell, I think it's called. I don't know what it does.
Makes
I haven't seen, but there are obviously there's new power ups. But you can blue
That's gonna be
there's like
hectic as
different
shit,
power ups depending on the little hats that they're wearing and shit. Like that's the vibe I got as well. Like that, like you get different versions of the same race.
Yeah, Mario ate like a burger in one bit and then changed.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not sure. I know you get so in the knockout tour mode, if you're wearing the crown, it means you're in first place. You know, the knockout tour mode is like
that will be adorable.
Oh, there'll be a fight for that constantly.
That's going to be great fun.
Just to wear the crown. He gives a shit about being first. I want the shiny thing.
Knockout crown is not a mode that has never been done before again, but I don't think it's been done in Mario Kart. I don't think it has. I mean, I can't remember.
Even the flipping wacky races bit to get to the next race, I thought as a mode was quality. Like everything they showed, I was like, because normally in those kinds of things, you're like, that mode sounds crap. I'm not giving that any time. I want this and this, right? But like even those other modes, I was like, that sounds cool. Like I just, you know, ignoring the people that were on the ad, but like, you know, me playing, I'll be like, that sounds great.
Talk too much about it is because there's another direct coming.
Yes,
April 17th, which is going to be about Mario Kart World. So we like, you know, that's not long either. We'll be talking about this again in a couple of weeks. It's not a launch game, but I want to talk about Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yes.
I want to know if you two realise what that is. Do you realise what that game is?
It's our substitute 3D Mario in the meantime.
It's Mario Odyssey, but bananas.
Yeah.
Have you seen
I was lamenting a little bit about, we're not going to see any 3D Mario. And then the fucking ape dropped in from
I think it's more than that. I think it's with all the terraforming shit. I was like, this is like...
No, but it's...
Smashing crap out of the world wherever.
That's the gimmick instead of Cappy, if you know what I mean. Like, you are collecting bananas in the way you are collecting... what were they in? Shines, right?
Moons.
Christ. Yeah, like you... And it does the same thing, by the way. So you smash through a ground and you find one, he'll pick up the banana and he eats it. And it goes like... And it goes, you know, banana in the caves. And it does that same thing that Odyssey does. And there's one, like, on the top of a pipe where you do a thing, and then you have to, like, you know, the barrels, the explosive barrels. You get in them, and you have to quickly get round like in a puzzle.
Just fire around.
And that's like a moon, a banana. Like it is 100%. And I am so ready for that July. So it's also similar to how they did it with Odyssey. Like it wasn't, you know.
I mean, I've been waiting fucking years since Donkey Kong 64 for a proper 3D Donkey Kong.
You've been waiting forever.
And like, I am really happy about this. Like, I think there's going to be so much stuff with all of the malleable world where you can just wreck the shit out of it and just like terraform to fuck. Like, I just think there's going to be it's just Mario. Well. I don't think it's just Mario Odyssey with a different character. I think with that whole...
I'm not doing it. I don't mean to do it.
No, I know you're not. But
yeah,
because there will be some people that are like, well, it's not 3D Mario. I'm like, nope. It's a different 3D platform that will serve a completely different purpose and feel different in the same way that flipping, you know, Mario 64 and Donkey Kong 64 existed perfectly fine alongside each other and both were great. Like, I'm really happy. I've been waiting for I joked in the Discord, I think, like the other week, said about a 3D Donkey Kong. Didn't think I'd ever get one because I thought Nintendo were just like, it's just 2D. But, like, I'm really happy. And it looks great, really stylistic, and I think it will feel very different to a Mario. I do. And
I didn't notice. Did he show up any of his mounts in there, like Rambi?
I thought they showed Espresso.
But I've only watched it the once so far.
I think Espresso was in there. There was an ostrich that he was chatting to. So I think that she is in there, but I didn't see like Rambi or anything. So I don't know. But, you know, there's still time.
It's going to make sense for traversal.
There are... I mean, it's not a huge spoiler. There are characters from the other games in there. I can tell you that much. And
I'm pretty certain I saw a version of Candy in the trailer
possibly.
as well.
But there's you know,
I was waiting for Cranky to rock up, but I didn't see him. And Diddy,
not Funky.
like, you know, whatever.
Cranky's in it.
I didn't see him. Okay,
No, it
cool.
wasn't in the launch trailer, but Cranky's in it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Launch trailer, sorry, the reveal-y trailer thing, like, but Cranky's in the game, definitely. I really cannot wait for that. I'll tell you the other thing, right? I know there's a lot of hate around this, but the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, right? I know, and again, it's not something I can pretend. I can't go, oh, there should be. No, it's right that people have to pay £10 for this or whatever it's going to be. I think it's $10, so I would guess it's $9.99, which is better, but it feels like it should.
It's not horrendous. But...
No, but this is the company that put Wii Sports in the box. So
this is the thing for me. Yeah,
I
think
have a lot more to it than I think people are realizing at first. Like, there's a lot of stuff in this game, if you want to call it that.
I'm sure there is, but it's still an instruction manual. Like, I think it essentially what its purpose is. It's not a game. It is to demonstrate the fun, and because it's, I guess for me, it's not a Wii Sports or a Nintendo Land or whatever, right? It is, unless I've misunderstood, and there's loads of really in-depth fun mini games going on.
There are a lot of mini games in there.
So, okay, well, maybe you could argue it's like
example, you have
maybe,
to like
maybe that's a bit. I
I'll
think
give you an
it was
example,
just the
Chris.
way
Hang on.
everyone
Let me give
expected
you an example. So, like with the mouse, for example, it teaches you how to use the mouse, obviously, and it teaches you about the HD rumble, and then it will combine them into a mini game. So, for example, you're using the mouse, and you have to find like the rumble by moving the mouse around, and it will grade you based on, you know, and it's like that sort of thing. It's like a combination of what you are suggesting, but also with like a bit of WarioWare, a bit of brain training.
That's the thing. It reminds a bit of WarioWare.
Brain Academy, Brain Academy in there.
I think the problem is that there is quite a chunk of it that is, you know, it's an explanation of the technology within the hardware. And so therefore it does feel like an interactive manual. It does. How it executes the mechanics of the hardware, obviously a gamified, but I think that's the problem. And I don't know. I think everyone just assumed when they saw it, cool, if this is like a free thing, this is wicked. This is actually really clever. And then they went paid and we're like...
Combined with the fact that they're charging a lot more for video games this time around, it feels extra tight. While we're talking first party, to Kirby Air Riders, I haven't got a huge amount to say about that. What was the other game? I keep forgetting the name of it. Drag X Drive, which is an online, basically the wheelchair basketball game. Mm-hmm. Kind of covered it. That's coming summer as well. What was the other? There was another one. So, yeah, they're not exclusives, but the only other one really of note, and it's definitely of note, is Duskbloods.
It's a big one.
Yeah, Switch 2 exclusive in 2026. It's Bloodborne 2 in visuals, isn't it?
Oh god, yeah.
No, so first off, I thought it was Bloodborne 2. Then I realised it wasn't.
No, it's never gonna. No, but I know.
But
what you mean.
I started off, I was like, "This looks FromSofty." FromSoft appears, and I was like, "This looks Bloodborne-y." Okay, no, calm down. It's not.
It can't be that.
Then it did all of its thing, and I genuinely was not expecting exclusive. No. Like, I genuinely thought this was just Switch had got an announcement of a game. You know, at the timing of the direct had been the time they were going to announce their game, because there were a couple of those, right? I think there was a couple of others. I'm trying to think. Maybe there wasn't.
Deltarune, and Hollow Knight Silk Song was kind of reminded it existed again.
Still don't believe that.
I just was not
until it gets in my hands.
For FromSoft to do an exclusive on the Switch 2. That's a little bit of a coup. That is a little bit of a coup, quite frankly, and. Fucking all in. Give it to me. Like, that's just, yes.
I'm right in thinking that's a PvPvE as well, isn't it?
Yeah, 8-player. Yeah.
Multiplayer centric, so we're all going to be all over that.
So we'll all die, but then everyone can see our faces as we die.
Yeah.
I'm just going to see you two shaking your heads at me. The prick's done it again.
He's done it again. Ran in again.
Well, let's rattle through some more. So,
launch titles. Keep us honest, boss. Come on.
Launch titles: Street Fighter 6, great. Split Fiction. Great. Hogwarts Legacy.
Stu fucking perb. Get on that if you haven't.
Don't really care about Hogwarts Legacy. Whatever. Hitman World of Assassination.
Love
great
that.
Video game.
Was really happy that was there.
Bravely Default Flying.
Adam, before you go away from that
Remaster.
as well, the confirmation of Bond as well. That's the first.
Yes, that was it.
The initial announcement.
That was it.
No,
that was the one I was talking about.
I don't remember seeing anything else. For them to go, oh, it's another agent. I was like,
I love IOI, right, and have for a very long time. That's one of the few bits of this direct that I was like, because like I have no doubt that game will be good, but that game's been in development. They showed the first years. We are talking
it's
years.
been a while. Yeah.
A while is not fair. It has been more than a fucking while, and they still haven't shown really anything other than it still doesn't have a name, by the way.
No.
Zoe was over my shoulder going, "Is it GoldenEye remake?" I was like, "No, it isn't."
But
as much as we all hope it is,
I'd have been fucking fuming if it hadn't
Why
been.
would you re-reveal a game that still doesn't have a name?
No, I know. I did.
So I'm not. Anyway, Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD remaster. That'll make some people happy. Yakuza 0 Director's Cut is like, are you really gonna make me play that video game again? Because it's got new cutscenes. Thanks a lot.
I'll play it.
Civ 7 with mouse control, 2K with WWE 2K25 NBA, Deltarune chapters 1 through 4, Survival Kids from Konami, Cyberpunk 2077 is launch day, Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade is launch day, and Fortnite is launch day.
And clearly Rebirth in a future announcement.
Of
they
course,
barely
at some
said
point.
that.
Gotta be, yeah.
Now, before I get into the games which aren't launch day, there is a publisher, for me, we have not mentioned at all yet. And I will start. I'll give you. Oh, no, yeah, because there's one of them. There's two I haven't mentioned. Definitely one will be coming up in a minute. So Elden Ring is coming in Switch 2 in 2025. Hades 2. These are all ticks. These are all big ticks. A new Daemon Ex Machina. Great. That was a fun game. I'll play another one. EA Sports has said, we're doing stuff, so you're going to get Madden. EA.
Good support.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, boy.
So you had the James Bond, which is coming to Switch 2. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. It's a Musu.
My excitement level from the start of that to the end of that just went from it's Hyrule Warriors. Like I played Hyrule Warriors with my wife and we enjoyed it, but I'd be surprised if I play that over other things.
Yes. Borderlands 4.
I was happy with that
I'm happy
as well.
to see that on Switch 2.
Yes.
Less happy to see Randy on yet another stream. Just let's let the game do the talking, whatever. Enter the Gungeon 2 was announced and is coming to Switch 2.
Can't wait for that, man.
Hollow Knight Silksong. Yes, Steve, I know.
It's definitely 2025, Steve.
Really?
It said it.
Definitely.
Nintendo don't lie.
Right, can someone clip this for me then, so we can have this conversation in 3 years' time?
Kunitsugami, Goodnight Universe, 2 Point Museum, Wild Hearts S, which again I just want to quickly stop there just briefly and be like, excellent
I tell you what,
dude, it might get its moment now.
I was really surprised at that, and I hope. Do you know what? I hope it does, because that game was good.
Really, really good.
Had some really good ideas, and I hope more people now play it a second time.
Oh, they will now. Yeah, it's going to do well. I wonder if this version will stay on Switch. At the moment, it is only announced for Switch. But it would seem foolhardy to not go Wild Hearts S or whatever it's called. Is it
just going to depend how it does at the time, I guess?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Witchbrook, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, Star Wars Outlaws. There's Ubisoft. No Assassin's Creed, but Star Wars Outlaws. And if it can run that, anyway, we'll come to that. And the last one I've saved to personal, Starseeker Astroneer Expeditions, which is very exciting because I wonder what they've done about it.
I instantly thought of Chris's fucking
I went on an emotional roller coaster with this because I went straight away as soon as I saw it. I was like, "It's Astroneer." I was like,
I mean, it bloody looked like it, didn't it? But I was
then it looked like some sort of what's the name of that game? Revenge of the Savage Planet or something.
That was what I was like. I was like, but we've just cut I
was like
footage together.
But it's not that. So I was like, hang on. And then so I was really confused, and I was just trying to just pay attention to what it was, and then obviously there's the logo in the back somewhere in one of the boxes or something. I was like, it fucking is Astroneer.
Yeah.
Like,
it was the helmet designs that gave it away.
Yeah, no, that was the thing for me at the start, and I was like, that is. But then it was because it's so different, I guess, in terms of what Astroneer actually was versus what this looks like it is.
It doesn't just look like more of the same. It looks like a whole different.
Yeah, completely different. There better be storage. Let me just say that now.
It doesn't. Let's be completely honest. The trailer doesn't really give a huge amount away as to what it is, other than
that's why I'm saying there better be storage.
So I don't know what the game is, but I mean they've earned my trust. I mean I replay the game every few fucking years. But
if it was just landscape shots, you'd be kind of like more the same. Yeah. But it wasn't just that.
That is kind of the list. we won't talk too much longer about backwards compatibility. That is an interesting discussion. They're adding certain games. They're getting stuff added to certain games, but some will be free. So, for example, since the direct, they weren't very clear, is what I think I'm getting. I mean, I'm not being much clearer now.
A bit cagey, yeah.
But they weren't hugely clear about what would be free, what wouldn't be. Since then, they have confirmed via various websites on like Nintendo Japan, Nintendo America, blah blah blah, that games like Odyssey will get an update, Pokemon Scarlet will get an update. They haven't said what they'll be. I'd imagine resolution, because I mean Scarlet needs a frame rate update, so that might be that. But they've confirmed. So for example, and this is something I really do want to talk about this, right? Because this is something I've not seen picked up on. So Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is getting a Switch edition. Hallelujah.
This. Yep.
It'll be 4K 60 FPS with HDR on quality mode.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that again because people are listening to this. It'll be 4K 60 FPS on quality mode, not performance mode. Quality mode. In performance mode, it'll be 1080p, 120 FPS HDR. That's PS5 Pro levels to get 4K.
I'll be honest,
that seems crazy.
This is the thing.
4K,
so
60 FPS.
As you know, last week I was a bit concerned about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and now I'm fucking not, because that you're right. You're sitting there going, "Hang on, that's performance levels and quality mode, right?"
Yes.
And it's, yeah. I mean, fingers crossed. There's a part of me that just goes, but a Nintendo machine won't be able to do that because I've just been wired that it won't.
Because that's what we're used to.
They wouldn't say it if it wasn't true, So whether it has to be docked for that or whatever, but like, I mean,
there were different specs for docked versus handheld. So
I just feel like, yeah, that's fucking impressive. Any game that's released right now, to have those specs is impressive. The fact they're doing it on my little baby and declared it, I'm well happy. So yeah, I think
that's quite something to say. We will be doing. I mean, look, I know Metroid Prime 4 isn't going to look like Assassin's Creed Shadows in terms of the way it's designed. It's got a look. They have to keep to that look. I saw a boss fight of it, and it's like it very much looks like what I would expect from Metroid Prime. The fact it's 4K 60 with HDR is, I think that's. I've been listening. We haven't seen it. We haven't put it in the dock and seen it like that on our tellies, so we can't. But I mean, that's impressive, I think.
But Nintendo barely made anything of the 4K output anyway, as far as it goes.
It's not a race they've ever been part of.
Like, oh yeah, we can do that. That's fine.
Yeah,
kind of.
Which I think is, to be honest, weird. Though that's kind of why I love them, because it's the sweetener, not the driver,
not the main event.
It's not the cake, it's the cherry. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what I want. I want the games to feel like be a great experience, and then obviously the other bits, like that just makes it even better. Like I don't want that to be the leading thing to go with. Oh, this is a 4K game or whatever. It's like, tell me what it is, and then it runs in 4K. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's what you grow to expect from everyone else. That's where you kind of assume they'd make that big deal of it, but they just don't give that much of a shit about it. They're like, there you go, here's just good stuff.
Speaking of good stuff, so again, those Switch 2 editions, some will be free, some will not. But as I understand it, and this is the one thing I'm still a little muddy on, having tried to research it as best as I can, the Switch 2 editions will sometimes be a part of the NSO Plus expansion pass plus the. So
is that defining the free part essentially?
No. So games like Mario Odyssey and Pokemon Scarlet will have free updates.
Literal free.
That is it. They will be an update that downloads and enhances those games. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Pokemon Legend. Well, these games aren't out yet, so stick to the ones that are. Tears of the Kingdom, that will be a paid upgrade. Or those two, Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, are definitely part of the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. If you have that, you get that upgrade.
Okay.
What we don't know, I don't think we're 100% sure. So Kirby and the Forgotten Land, great game by the way. Nice to see that's not been forgotten. Will include some new content. It's going to have some new content That I'm not 100% sure on, because that is the sort of thing they have been giving away as part of the NSO. Like that, they gave away the Mario Kart stuff. Like, so I'm not clear on that. The GameCube's come in. Look,
we can't brush over the fact we are finally getting Wind Waker, then surely.
Sure.
Let's be really fucking let's be really fucking clear here. We're getting 3 absolute fucking bangers. I was well happy with that. I was like, oh my god, it's Soul Calibur 2. Like, oh my god, that game is fucking brilliant. And then the last time we ever had an F-Zero was GX. Like, I'm all up for all those 3. I want that controller. Like,
yeah.
The GameCube stuff. As soon as that logo came, the little boom, I was like,
the feel
again, shouting at the screen and no one was listening. But like, yeah, that stuff. And to be honest, I will say as well, because I think we're going to get into value for money territory, I'm sure, soon. But like, I do think the NSO stuff, plus expansion stuff, I've said it a few times.
It's
now.
Always been good value.
It's been good value. They just keep adding to it, like, and you know, there are a lot of people that have Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Those games sold a fucking lot. So the people that have them are in the majority. If you then get a free upgrade to play that and it looks better, I mean, the games look good anyway, but like, because of the style of it. But just...
Did you notice where they showed off the talking about how the frame rate is going to be improved? In the forest, the one place that everyone's bitched and moaned about for
forever. Exactly.
Like, oh, we'll just put it in there just to show you.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, you know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
The last thing I would add, just little tiny bits before we get into the bit we know what's coming. We have to talk about it. Is worth mentioning, in case you haven't read it anywhere, seen it or heard it, you can use your old Joy-Cons wirelessly on the new Switch. Obviously, they don't connect because they're not made for it. You can use your Pro Controller on the Switch 2. You just are going to lose the C button, so that's your choice you can make if you don't want to spend 75 quid on a Switch 2 Pro Controller, which is totally fine. And there we are, we've led into the price. Now, I'm going to say it, the price of the console, and I'll say it again to be clear, the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 console, I am okay with. It is...
Can I just say, sorry, before we get into the other stuff, the price of Nintendo Switch 2 console, I think it's really fucking good. Yeah. Like sub 400. Are you like serious? Like that?
That's fine. Yeah, I mean,
I think we're all gearing ourselves up for a higher one.
Here
we go.
I thought 379, so I'm not far enough off to be worried about it. Do you know what I mean? It's like
I thought 400 was the floor. So the fact that
near enough. I mean, you're not.
Yeah, no, I know, but I genuinely thought it would probably. If I was a betting man, I'd have probably said 450 is where they're going.
Yeah. Well, you. Can't avoid it. You kind of are going to be spending $450 if you want to buy a game, because for some reason Nintendo's decided we're just going to charge because this is the thing I don't get right. Well, it's not just a hike. What I truly don't get about this is why they're changing it. It's a very risky message, because yes, these games are now too expensive. I have a wider point and I want to come back to this, so we can talk but I don't want to race away from it. Why the hell would you make certain video games that you make more expensive than others? Doesn't that immediately make you go, oh, I don't think that one's going to be as good?
Let's talk about this point first before we talk about the overall point, because I have different views on the overall point.
Bloody hell.
I don't understand why Mario Kart is different to Donkey Kong.
This is what I'm getting at.
Reports are to be believed. And I also don't understand why the difference between...
Sorry, there's no reports. I've seen the prices myself with my own eyes. There's no reports. Okay, they are a different price to one another, both physically and digitally, by the way. Yeah.
I also don't understand why the difference in price with a console bundled with Mario Kart is nowhere near the price of Mario Kart itself. Normally, you save like $5 or something by doing a bundle. You don't save half the price of a game by doing it. That's not normally not for launch anyway.
Hang on. Before we go too deep into this, let me just put some numbers out there for people who haven't yet seen it.
Okay,
if you were to say it's June the 5th, you are going into a shop. You've got your Switch 2. It's arrived, but you want to go and buy some physical copies of games. No, actually, that's a bad example. Let's say it's August, and you've just got a Switch for your birthday.
Yes, let's say that.
Okay, you go in a shop and you buy Mario Kart World. A physical copy will cost you £74.99.
Yep.
Ouch. You also go, actually, Donkey Kong Bonanza wasn't out that long ago. I've got some money for my birthday. That's £66.99. What?
Yeah. Why the disparity?
What's going on?
So the only thing I can think,
good thing about the prices here, I will say that I'm glad at least people are making digital games fucking cheaper, but those digital prices are still.
So what are the digital price? Remind me of digital pricing.
So for Mario Kart World, if you buy it digitally, it's £66.99. The same price as Donkey Kong if you buy it physically. Donkey Kong digitally is £58.99.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's not even the same. You'll like this, Chris, because you're the mathsman. So Mario Kart World physical £74.99, digital £66.99. That is a saving of what, £9?
8.
Thank you. That's why you're here. Okay, so you go, okay, so they're going to sell games £8 less. Actually, I think I've just fucked up because I think that is what they've done. Digital for £58.99 for Donkey Kong.
58 is 8.
And 66, yeah. So there you go. You're paying £8 for a box.
Yeah.
So
I can say from experience, packaging is not cheap nowadays.
No,
man.
well,
I know.
listen, like, can I just make the point about the difference in price? Because the only thing I can think of, is whether they are going to do stuff more with Mario Kart, like they did in the last generation.
You can't sell games. You can't sell games like that, though. I know what you're getting at.
No, I'm not.
You can't.
I'm not saying it's
this
right.
is going to be a service game, so we're going to add to it later for free. You can't sell them on a promise. Not for me. I know what you're getting at.
Hey, like, I'm not the
can see your
pricing
angle.
strategist at
No.
Nintendo, the only thing I can think of is, why is Mario Kart more expensive than Donkey Kong? Is you say, well, we know we're going to give away 12 more or 80 more tracks and 12 more characters on that. We can't do that on a single player platform game.
But what does this do when Metroid comes out?
What's that?
So let's say Metroid is $75.99, but it'd be $59.99 on Switch 1. Like, this is going to create like 4 different prices for one game on 2 different platforms. Look,
makes it. Yeah.
Look, right. Can I just say my point that's not going to be very popular, and then we can move on?
Oh dear.
Right?
Yes.
Because, like, I get it, right? People are going to be priced out of this, right?
Big time.
But, like, because I worked it out, because I'm the maths man, right? A $59.99 game in 2017, today's prices is £76.
So I don't disagree with the point you're making.
And at some point, like, I'm not going to be popular for this because I get it, and I'm in a more privileged position than other people. I get that, right? But at some point, like, you know, Nintendo's a business and they've got to make money, and the cost for them to make games has gone up since 2017. And the problem here, without getting all fucking doom and political and shit, is that people's pounds in their pocket haven't gone up with inflation.
No, that was my point. Like, I don't have a problem with the fact development costs have skyrocketed. It costs more to get a video game made and to be the quality that you expect it. But just going, fuck you, consumer, I'm handing that problem to you, when the consumer is also sat there going, I haven't had a pay rise in fucking forever. Is like,
but this is the point. Like, you also can't say Nintendo has a duty of care because they should go bust so that you can afford Mario. I don't believe that's true either.
Is there not a better happy medium? Is there not like a better?
And I don't know what the happy medium is.
Well, the happy medium's keeping digital prices the same. No, isn't it keeping digital prices the same? Isn't it saying, look, we're sorry that collectors are going to be hit by this, but the only way we can do this is by raising the collecting, you know, the cost.
Yeah, maybe that's.
But the digital. Why has a digital video game price gone up?
Why has?
Yes. Now it's all very like. Why has a digital?
Are we talking just since like today to future ones? Are we talking in the past 5-10 years?
Why has the industry as a whole just decided we're just going to charge more for games? What you can't talk to people. The whole fucking world, like, if people communicated more, there'd be so much less fucking problems.
No, but this is the point. Like, you could say you could level this argument at every single price of everything that exists in the world. Like, you can't just say Nintendo or Sony should put lower prices or maintain prices because people haven't got enough money.
Make the console more expensive
That's
to keep the games lower.
Them as well.
Makes the console more expensive and explain we've had to price it this way. It was either that or we were going to charge you 20 quid more for every single game you ever buy. If you tell people that, look, up front you're going to have to make a heavier investment, but along the line you're not going to be stung 80 quid for a game every time. Right? What would you rather do? Would you rather pay an extra 20 quid every single game, or would you rather pay for a console a bit more?
I just think whatever they did, like with this.
This is market leader being market leader. I love Nintendo and I love Nintendo's video games. But this is market leader being market leader and say, this is when 2K decided we can do it because we're part of Take-Two, who is GTA. It wouldn't surprise me at all if GTA 6 did come out this year and they said it's £99.99 for the.
Well, that's what the rumours are, aren't they?
That's the danger, isn't it?
And there will be uproar, and it will still be the best-selling game of the game if they released it on November.
I guess. Listen, it's whether you believe it's a cynicism or not. And I can't answer that. I don't work at Nintendo. You there could be a train of thought that says we're just going to bleed these fuckers dry because they will pay it no matter what. Or they'll be like, well, we're losing money on every single unit of Switch 2 we sell. The cost of producing these games has gone up. We've got to do something. We've got to move something somewhere. Otherwise, we're fucked. Because Switch 2 is not going to sell the same amount of Switch 1. It just is not.
It's not going to happen.
So, but doing that while also charging 10 quid for what should be a pack-in, the optics are back. Look, even if they said physical games now are $66.99, Donkey Kong's price, you go, okay, not ideal, but to just go, Mario Kart's 75 quid, knowing, and this is the thing, you say it's not cynical, Mario Kart has long been the best-selling Switch game. It has long been, Mario Kart 7 on DS was the best-selling DS game. I'm not saying it's cynicism. I don't know. But it just doesn't feel right that you can go, I'm charging 75 quid for Mario, but then I'll charge you 66 quid for Donkey Kong. I don't have explain.
Like I said, the only thing I've thought of is what they may do in the future for that. But to your point, you're not paying for that at the point of entry, are you? And that's the difficult sell. I can't answer that. I was surprised.
So is that why it's
when it came out
is
about
that why
the prices.
The pack-in's lower?
What's that?
Is that why
try
the
and
price of the
encourage
pack-in
more
is
sales
lower?
across the
because they know
bundle.
they're not gonna get as many. Listen, what version have you two bought?
The Mario Kart one.
So they're not going to get many 75 quids, are they? Because people are going to, if they can. I mean, not being funny, if you're buying a Switch 2, fair fucks, surely you're buying Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So surely you buy the bundle.
Yeah.
So...
unless you can't get hold of it because it's sold out, I guess.
It's confusing. It's confusing. It wasn't announced on the stream. It wasn't explained. It's just confusing.
Yeah, it is confusing. I don't, like I said, the only thing I've come up with is that thing, because the different pricing does almost raise more questions than it answers, and listen, I think sad as it is to say, it's not a unique to Nintendo thing. I think we won't go back to an age where games are as accessible to as many people as they were from a price point of view. We've kind of gone too far past that now.
Oh, you pay 12 quid for a movie ticket.
Yes, exactly, or a football match,
but now
or
you
anything.
pay 70 quid for a video game and you get 50 hours out of Xenoblade, for example, that I'm playing on Switch. Like, that is great value for money compared to the same price for a game that you get 6 hours. Listen, it's never going back. Like, it was never going back from the moment who was it that did it? 2K did it, and there was someone else did it as well at the time. It was never going to go back. The second people realized they could do it, there was a Treehouse stream where it was 3 hours long, and for the full 3 hours, I had to turn chat off in the end and watching it because it was too much. The full 3 hours, it was just consistent. There was at one point 90,000 people in the chat watching this video. It was just lower the prices, drop the prices, lower the prices for 3 hours. For 3 hours. It is not... But it's not going... They're not going to... They knew.
No.
They knew, because
the choice hasn't been made lightly, has it? They don't just go, fuck it, we'll try it.
This is why they didn't took money on the stream. They wanted to, and they feel it's hard to not feel like you had this wonderful hour of like, oh, I am so 2 months, and I'm going to have this in my house.
Yeah. No, I get it.
It is really hard to go from that, and like, it literally goes from it's the meme, isn't it? Take my money. Like, fucking hell, Nintendo, I want to Switch 2 now. Then you see the price of a game, and it's all of a sudden it dawns on you that okay, so most people who buy a console at launch are going to spend between 400 and 600 quid regardless. Even years ago, you would have bought 3 or 4 games.
You're buying a couple of games alongside the console, aren't you?
Or an extra controller. So, because before multiplayer, you'd have to buy another controller or any peripherals or whatever, memory cards, whatever. There's always been add-ons. But I think this has made people very quickly go, Well, because there's not like a huge amount of first party at launch, which is, again, I'm fine with that. I'd rather a trickle than have like 8 first party games and fuck all. I'd rather the way they're doing it, actually. You go, right, well, hang on. So let's say July, so it's June, we got Mario Kart. July, we got Donkey Kong. Probably August or September is Metroid. September, October, November, we're going Pokemon. All of a sudden, I'm spending nearly £100 a month on a video game. That's a... It's. I think it's just it's a threshold. No, none of us are going to sit here and go, "Yay, it's great."
No,
but also
no,
I don't think
anyone think that's what I am saying at all.
I know,
like it's a shame because there will be a lot of people that will understandably be priced out of a hobby that they enjoy.
Is this why they're pushing the game share thing? Is this why they're pushing all this game share thing?
Yeah, well, this is the other thing that we haven't actually talked about.
Yeah,
there is a value proposition there that does mean that there is less outgoings. You don't. All of you have to technically pay the £75 to buy Mario Kart.
Well, also,
I mean, just chip in on one copy.
The one they announced at the previous Direct, where you can loan
game
digital games to them, mate.
Yeah, literally lending and stuff. Yeah, so I do think. I think there. Yeah, I'm not trying. Again,
maybe I'm looking for an outcome. I'm
trying to defend them. I'm not. I'm trying to look at it from all angles, and I feel like it probably would have landed if it was, like you say, 66 rather than 75. Going from 59.99 to 66, people would have probably gone, yeah, that's 10%, fine. The 75 feels maybe like too big a jump.
It's the upper. It's too close to 80, which then your brain is too close to 100, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Near the ton mark.
Look, it's not going to change.
No,
and we all three of us are of various incomes, and all three of us have one on pre-order. Yep. So maybe it isn't the drama it sounds like. We can close this out, I think, in that respect by saying we're all. I mean, I'm very, very excited to try Switch 2. I really am looking forward to it. Donkey Kong, I was like, that'll be good. It wasn't until I saw more of it that I was like, oh, that's what this is.
Really good.
That's the one I want inside me now. But that's going to be great. Mario Kart. I mean, come on, come on. Then Metroid. Metroid is only going to be a few months behind that. How long have we waited for Metroid, Chris?
In days? I think it was announced in like 1995, wasn't it?
We're all very happy in overall. There are just some bits where you're listen, it's rare in life that someone announces something and everything about it is like, yay, there's always going to be,
Just don't let it tarnish the joy, man. Just relish it and get in there.
I mean, they try to not let it tarnish your joy by not letting you know it. You had to go and find it out later. Let's move on though, because we've spent an hour talking. We've spent as long talking about this as they spent showing it. Amazingly, so we won't take too much more of your precious time, dear listener or viewer. But we do need to talk about a video game we've played this week, at least, which is South of Midnight. Stephen,
indeedy,
you gave it an 8 out of 10. It's on loot level. Nearly said chat.com, lootlevelchill.com. Go and find a review there.
Go read about it now. Get involved.
A really nice, much shorter tonic to, let's face it, of gaming industry that is, and not to bring it all back into Nintendo, something I do enjoy about Nintendo is a lot of their games aren't 80 hours long. And South of Midnight is not 80 hours long. I think we both finished it in 10 to 12.
It does not suffer from bloat where you're going to be spending the next 200 hours with it. It's not an open world.
There's no soggy bottom or slack middle.
It's very tight, Adam.
It is tight,
very,
Stephen.
Very, very tight, sweet, and enjoyable.
The opening's not so tight. The opening's a little bit.
Yeah, to set the scene for it. So this is an adventure in third person.
So just to be clear, we're both making sex references here, right? It's not just me.
No, that's very much just you.
Okay, fair enough.
I would never do that. I have much more respect for the listeners. So this is a third-person action adventure, and it puts me very much in mind of, say, a PS2 era linear.
You keep saying
adventure.
that, and I do not agree.
It gives me those vibes, man. I don't know. You didn't always feel that, but I got
what
that
PS2's like. PS2 games were not like this. You've got a very strange memory of PS2
my
games.
memory of PS2 games. The thing I compared it to you recently was Kena Bridge of Spirits, if I get the name not
wrong.
Yeah, very well.
So you can get an idea of what that feels like. You know, you have got a mainly linear path with wider areas to explore through on it. But you are going to keep going one way, and there's one way through this story, and that's what you're going to go for. set in the Deep South. I keep wanting to say Louisiana. I have no basis for that whatsoever, but that's what it's set in my head. You are a little athletic girl called Hazel who has one traumatic night that sets in motion her becoming a weaver. So she has the ability a weaver.
It's
as
what
in,
it's
as in weaving a cloth or a tapestry.
No, it's what we call knitting.
Knitting,
Right.
okay. So knitting. So she becomes a knitter, and she goes off on an adventure, which I don't want to spoil the storyline here because there is a strong narrative drive in this game. You know, you guys know definitely, people might know from me. I'm not big into narrative in games. I am all gameplay as far as it goes. But this one got me.
You're
hooked.
a prick.
I am a prick at times. You know, you hate the fact that I just gameplay driven, but
No, I don't hate it.
I am,
think
I
it's
can't
really
help it.
weird. It's just weird that you. It doesn't matter. This is not the podcast for it.
There's so many games. If you just took out the story, I'd be just as happy,
Please,
man. Just make it
stop.
fun.
Stop. We can't do this. It's been an hour already.
We can't do this again.
Not to this time.
So you are traveling throughout this fantastical version of the Deep South, meeting some rather large characters, both in character and stature, as far as it goes.
Or like fat fuckers.
A couple of them
big, yeah.
definitely are fat fuckers.
Right.
One was shown
yeah.
off, so it's not really much of a spoiler. The huge fucking alligator that was shown in the.
I was going to ask if there were
gators.
gators.
Two-toed
Oh, the
Tom.
gators.
Yeah.
That happens to have a fucking island on its back. That gives you an idea of the scale of this bad boy.
Okay,
He's
yeah, pretty
an
big,
absolute beast. I'm lost train of thought now. So, so it's a third-person action adventure. You are going through exploring, fighting in a very DMC style, I think is fair to say, Adam.
I think it's DMC light.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
it's
You've
nowhere
got
near as
arena-based
complex.
fights, basically. You'll go in, you'll step in, suddenly walls throw up.
You mean DMC in terms of you're getting surrounded in an area and can't leave till you clear it out, or not the actual combat?
With
so
character action light mechanics.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going with those. And it's just a lovely tale, which you say was unexpected for me. I didn't expect to sink into that so much. It was a case of, I'll just see how it goes with the gameplay. There's a tale to be told here, and it's a very enjoyable tale.
You sound like you're auditioning for the Mighty Boosh resurrection. There's a tale to be told here. Go on.
Have you
so Adam, you finished it as well?
Yeah.
Do you echo, agree, disagree?
Yeah, no, it is a really nice game. A really nice game. It's actually it's weird because the something I said to Steve is that it's a lot of games do tend to have that little middle section where they just sort of settle into the rhythm, but they end up sagging a little bit. I didn't find that with this. The only issue I've got with it, I like the combat more than Steve, but it doesn't run out of ideas as much as it runs out of road. Like eventually they've introduced every enemy. Like, you know, and you're not getting any new ones.
By maybe like 2/3 of the way through, you've seen all these
way before you need to, or you should be out of enemy designs. They run out of enemy designs, and then it's just like how you handle them. And in
but
your
I think
review,
that's countered by the level of creativity in the boss encounters, for want of a better word.
Yes, but like I also think, and you mentioned this in your review, lootlevelchill.com. Go and read that review. That the skill tree is a little uninspiring, and I'll be honest with you, it's a slight bugbear of mine. So I will say one thing I did love about it is that you collect things to upgrade, and they're called floofs. Like fluffy things, floofs.
Little floofy things in the world.
That's great. However, there's no New Game Plus, and there's no way to like just go back in and replay a level. So I upgrade. There's a skill tree down the left that is like your core skill trees, and then each of your 4 button abilities. So one is like force push. It's literally force push. One is force pull. One is you throw a little dude out that is a friend of yours. I won't spoil it, and he can control them for a little period. And one is, what's it called, Steve? On left bumper, where you basically freeze them and they take more damage for a bit.
Yeah, you kind of create
It's
a weave around them and just
Yeah.
holds them in place while you just give them a damn good kick in.
So you get those 4 skills quite quickly, actually. And there is a 5th, but it's not as related. And each one of them has its own 3-part skill tree. And I unlocked every single skill bar 1. And the only way I could actually now unlock that and get the associated achievement for unlocking that particular skill would be to replay the whole game. Basically, because there's no way jumping back in or just like going back a bit. Maybe if I don't know are there chapter saves that I could jump back and just choose that instead.
I went back and looked yesterday. I was going to say when you can actually jump back into a chapter and look back through again. So there's not New Game Plus. but there is a
There's a
way to go
chapter
back through various levels.
Anyway, it's not a big deal. What the thing I would actually say that does lead nicely into that I really appreciated is, so in a lot of these games, Chris, I know you do this. Like, so it's got a thing where you click a button and it's like, follow the trail of weaves, and that's the way you go. And I'm like, cool, there's a path there. See you in a bit. Off we go.
Yeah.
Fuck off. These are really, really, really clever level designs. So like, you'll find yourself going, some of them are really quite long, and truth be told, sometimes you end up with like 5 floofs, and that's not a lot for and you're like, that was not worth it, but it was worth it. But when you go through this thing, somehow the way the levels have been designed, you always end up, apart from once, we both said, Steve,
we both found that one moment
kind of
when,
being back where you were, but like either higher up or underneath.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
So it's really, it never makes you then like go, you found this thing all the way over here, now just walk all the way back.
Yeah,
it's like
little Dark Souls like loop.
Yeah, and every single time bar one, and I think that's a really good sign of level design. The thing I'll mention, my God, what a video game for visuals. Oh,
well, both visuals and soundtrack here, like. It looks like, as I mentioned there, like a Tim Burton movie come to life.
Yeah.
In
you
the terms
mentioned
of
Coraline
you're now
in your
directly
review.
affecting what's going on. Which before, you are not taking a passive view in this. You are right in the middle of the action, and it looks fantastic.
You mentioned Coraline in your review, and I'm like, yep, salute.
Yeah,
that.
there's a Coraline vibe. It doesn't look as dark as say Coraline does. There's still a brightness and hope to the world that's sometimes lacking in that movie.
Yeah.
But it's certainly those vibes at times.
Well, it's
the soundtrack, though, we talked about it a little between us, but I've fallen in love with it. I'm not usually a kind of bluegrass southern jazz kind of guy, but after spending a relatively short amount of time, it's only I'm going to say most will get through it within 9 to 11 hours, maybe. A little more.
I think I'm 10 to 12 because I like to find everything.
Yeah, that stuff now. I'm loving the soundtrack to this. It's so cool. It's banjos left, right, and center. It's big band jazz. It's you can imagine almost the smoky jazz bars in certain areas as you're going past these buildings. It's wonderful. I'd recommend even if you're not interested in the game, get on Spotify or your music player of choice and give it a listen, man.
See, I would say don't, because I think it would spoil the game if you then did want to go and play it, because there's that's why I've not really mentioned the music, because there's certain tracks that are so sort of key to the moment in the game.
There's actually two albums available to stream. One is the pure sort of soundtrack,
that's clever
and more cinematic.
Okay.
The other includes the more folky tales involved.
I retract my statement. Do what Steve said.
Yeah, so go listen to the cinematic one, and if you're into that vibe, get into the game and then see where those stories come into it all.
I do also want to just shout out very briefly, because you might see footage of it even in this very podcast, or go and watch a trailer and go like, wow, that's so beautiful and pretty. I bet this is a lovely, airy, nice, like fluffy game. It's dark. You really have to be okay with the juxtaposition of styles, because the visuals look stunning and bright and beautiful. Some of the stories
kicks you in the bollocks at times.
There's one I'm not going to mention for spoiler's sake, but I did mention to Steve, I have never seen that tackled in a video game. Certainly not seeing it actually happen. And as you pointed out back to me, there's even a suggestion it gets darker via some of the...
Yeah, you haven't probably even darker implementation behind it. And I was like, oh, okay. Maybe that's just my mind.
She's trying to heal people, essentially, with her weaving, once she knows what she's doing. And a lot of these people have got very dark pasts, hence...
Her own family has a dark past.
Well, it does, yeah. Very dark past. I really... Look, it's in Game Pass. I'd be... Just try it.
But, there's no excuse not to give it a go.
I do want to say, quite a slow start. So give it a little bit of breathing room. Wait till you. What I'd say is, once you start unlocking the skills, and you'll suddenly start to unlock them a lot quicker. Yeah. If you're still not in after that, fair enough. You've given it the Mac King 10. But
you've got a plethora of traversal skills after the first hour. I guess
I'd say so. Yeah. You sort of nothing happens but story. Nothing happens but story, and then all of a sudden it's like skill. Like, okay, but so get that far in, and go and read the review. That'll tell you if that'll tell you a lot as well. Question of the week.
Let's do it.
Question of the week.
Let's do it.
This comes in from Ben. Good evening, chaps. How did he know? I've gathered you here this evening for the inaugural round of Loot Level Fill.
This
like
sounds
it, so-
dirty.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
hadn't thought of that. I'm currently handing out a syringe. Each still sounds bad, doesn't it? I'm
Yeah,
currently
that's-
handing out a syringe, each filled with your favourite condiment, sauce, or a liquid food. On the Lazy Susan in front of you is a selection of foods. What are you going to pick to create a saucy reservoir within? And he just finishes off by saying, we've got this function room booked for another hour and a half. So
It doesn't. The question doesn't get better the more you read it. It still sounds a little bit like filth.
I don't think it's meant filthy. I mean, well, let's look.
My sauce choice is fairly easy.
So you're picking a sauce, not a condiment or a liquid.
Yeah, only because I'm thinking if we're having to put this into another thing.
Yeah, okay. Now
condiments-
you've said it. I get the dirt. Okay.
Yeah. Condiments are going to be a bit tough. It's quite viscous, and trying to get that in there is going to be tough going. So I want something a little more liquidy.
But let's assume that logistically it's just going to go in.
Just going straight in.
Can we not do a lot of like this, please, when we're talking about it?
Yeah, that's.
Sorry, that for people listening on the audio, I was doing a
fisting
motion.
motion. I think is a fair way to say it.
You were doing goatsy.
No, that's something different. I'm not doing that. That's
Oh
that.
no, yeah, you're right. You weren't. Sorry. Now I've brought it up for nothing.
I mean, he might be
Now
doing
you're
that
thinking
after the
about it.
first hour of the
Yeah.
night.
Right,
but-
so come on.
You don't see my hands all the time on the pod, so
No.
maybe I.
Stephen.
So
What's your
my
sauce then?
sauce option to buy me time thinking on what it's going into.
So yeah,
it's gonna
sorry,
be
can I
hot
just be
sauce.
clear
It's gonna be
on
Frank's.
the question, right?
Yes, I can
We are
read it,
choosing a liquid to put into a solid to make presumably said solid better.
That's the way I'm taking
Is that
it.
how this?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm going Frank's hot sauce, man, all the way,
Okay.
because there is nothing that doesn't make better. What are you looking
all
for?
right. So what? But he asks you what you. He wants to know what you're putting it into. So what are you? What will you pick to create a
Well,
saucy
my
reservoir
natural
within?
option is going to be chicken wings here.
You're going to
Oh, so like literally inject
Hot
the
sauce
wings
into my
with
chicken wings, so
sauce.
that I can actually recoat the chicken wings as well for double Frank's action. That's going to be a good time.
So like a 3D Frank chicken sandwich. It's like
Kind
the
of, yeah.
sauce is the bread.
The sauce is both. It's going to be on the outside and the inside with a
Yeah.
chickeny filling.
I don't know if it's because I made up my mind about what my choice was ages ago, but you're a weird man, Stephen.
Well, how's that weird?
Well, I just feel like
Hot
mine's
wings
like
are a perfectly acceptable choice for any man.
to inject. You've got a syringe of hot sauce that you're injecting into chicken.
Into the chicken, fill out the flesh with more hot sauce before then picking up and dipping in more hot sauce.
But you're not that
for
into
maximum
spicy food,
coverage.
are you?
You what? Sorry,
I thought you
He's
weren't
not,
that
that's
into
a weird
spicy
choice.
food.
dude, I'm all over the
I thought
spicy
he'd-
food.
Spicy food,
Oh,
yeah.
it's Mick that can't do spicy.
Yeah, no,
isn't it?
I'm mate. I'm
Well, I
abusive with
now
it.
I understand
If I
why
can
you
taste
look
a
like
meal,
you've been
something's
curling
gone
out a
wrong.
biscuit for the entire time of that description. Adam.
No, Chris. I still think this is a. I think once you hear mine, you're gonna agree that his is a very weird choice. Do you want me to do mine, or do you?
Adam?
Yeah, because I'm struggling. So I've got half an answer because I've decided on my liquid just because I wanted to go completely different to Steve. So I've gone for custard,
Okay,
right,
yeah.
in a
That is very
dessert
different.
of some sort. But I know they already do like custard-filled cakes or whatever. So I'm struggling with what to put it in. But like, I can't think of anything that's a dessert or sweet that I wouldn't think was improved by the addition of interior custard. And so
That's a
I
turn
can't, I
of
can't
phrase.
think of anything I'd be like, no, that one.
Interior custard.
How is your
Yes.
interior custard, Chris?
I you know, like even something that I adore, like cheesecake, if that had surprise custard inside it, I'd still be happy.
Sorry, but I mean, I'm the one who said logistics don't matter. I can't see how you would. That's kind of it doesn't matter. No.
We're assuming the item can expand enough with what you're putting in it.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
a given
See,
elasticity.
I'm assuming
to
there's
it.
some give in whatever I'm doing.
Maybe I've gone super boring then. But
Well, where are you going?
Go on, well, tell us
I-
what you've done.
Nutella into a croissant.
Well, I was trying to think of stuff that hadn't already been done. Like that's
Yeah,
the thing. Like,
exactly.
I could
But
have
the
said a
question doesn't say-
custard-filled donut. Thanks. See you later.
okay.
And like, that's what I was trying to avoid.
No, all right. I will do something then that hasn't been done, but I'm going to use similar things. So I'm going to go for one of the best kinds of donut, a seaside ring donut.
Yes.
Ring.
Classic.
Oh, if you put it round Yeah, no, you see, can you
Yeah,
not
that's
do that?
pretty good.
But yeah, no,
Nutella
I tell you
into
what,
the ring
that
of the donut.
the deep fried hot sugar coated with Nutella in it,
Or custard. I'll
or
take yours.
custard.
Custard's fine.
Jam would kill your mouth, but you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Nutella's going to be like fucking lava as well, isn't it? Let's face it.
Why is it hot? Sorry.
I assumed you'd be going in hot. I don't know.
Why
cold.
would I go in hot?
Presumably you're injecting it after it's come out of the fryer.
Yes, but but then it would settle. It'd be basically a Nutella ring filled donut, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, because I think
logistics
Steve's
don't
point
matter.
is if you're cooking it with it already in, then
I
it would
kind of
become
assumed it would be
fucking
like
mold.
you do it as one thing.
On the
coming out
lazy
as a
section,
fucking
on the
meat
lazy
bomb.
section, on the lazy Susan in front of you is a selection of foods. What will you pick to create a saucy reservoir in? Someone has served me a
right.
still,
So you're
lukewarm seaside donut.
so you're assuming
ring,
it's freshly made.
Oh,
ring
nice.
donut.
Yeah. No, I'm
In
with
we
you.
go.
I'm
in
with
fact,
you.
In fact, I'm doing that, and then I'm taking your syringe off it, and I'm putting the half custard and half Nutella.
Yeah, that'd be banging.
And if you've got any
I
salt
mean,
caramel,
I'm not putting Chris's interior custard in my wings for love nor money.
No.
But do you see
I'm
why
trying
I
to
was
think-
like, why Steve gone for that hot sauce inside a chicken wing?
I feel
when you could
like-
just get a
I don't
pastry
know, man.
and get a.
I'm trying.
My
I
natural
am
thought
struggling. Like, I'm trying to think of a savoury option that I'd like. Like, would I like? I don't know. Would I like gravy and my sausage or something? Like,
What
I
about
don't know. I'm
sausage with
trying to.
interior ketchup.
Would I like?
or a hot dog
Would I
with
like
interior
peppercorn sauce
mustard and
injected into
ketchup?
my steak? Like that kind of thing. Like, I'm just wondering if I would want
Do you
that.
know what would be quite nice, actually, if you could do it? And again, I said logistics aren't an issue, but you know how like you get a hot dog, ketchup on the top, bit of mustard on the top.
Yeah,
If you
always.
could inject that so it was levelly through the dog, therefore no mess.
Yeah.
Just eat it and there's no mess, but it's still got the flavour. I reckon that.
I think
it's a corn dog, isn't it? I suppose in
It
some ways.
works if it's done fresh. If you were
Yes.
to buy something that already had it in it, because I've had them before when they've had like stuff in it and it's grim. But I think if you could find a way to inject like fresh ketchup and mustard or whatever into it on the lazy Susan as we go in, rather than put it on top, I think you've got a bit of a win.
I feel
there.
like Ben's a Patreon, so it's unlikely he's serving us like 3-week-old rancid hot dogs. It would be an odd thing to do.
Depends how much he likes the Patreon.
Well, depends how much he likes the answer to this question.
Doing it out of spite.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And if you want to ask,
He might be one of those weird like Lyle
no,
fans.
Chris, that was right.
He was right there.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah,
What?
he might be
Sorry?
a weird, like, no,
What?
it's sorry. I had a
Just fucking say it.
I had the first segue of the night, and like you
To the end.
Yeah, and you it was
Go on
like
then.
the first one. I was
You'd saved it up.
If you want to ask a question,
Oh,
Yeah, fucked it now.
if you want to ask a question, or if you want to hear more listener questions, you can go to patreon.com/lootlevelchill, where you can ask us questions. I've just put a new one on there as we record for like the next one, because we do a bonus podcast where we answer loads more questions, which we're going to do a different bonus pod this week. Thank you very much. We know it's been very Switch heavy. We won't talk about the Switch every week for an episode for a whole hour.
You're going to say ever again then?
Ever again, yeah, no, we're never going to cover the Switch ever again. That's it. Thank you to Steve for being here. Thank you to Chris for being here. Or if you want to change it around, thank you to Chris for being here. And thank you to Steve for being here. Because no one of us is more important than the others. We are the loot of the level. This is our podcast, and it's something we talk well on. So thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe.
I'm glad we segued into this shit.
It's because you threw me off. Otherwise, that would have been
This would have been
professional.
perfect if it were
Brilliant.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I
fault,
never make
obviously.
mistakes. I never make mistakes on the podcast. Thank you, everyone, for listening or watching, and we'll see you next episode. Bye for now.